Day 2 of the 2017-2018 NBA season, and you could tell this was going to be a good one before the game even started after this video from Gordon Hayward with a message to his team was played up on the Jumbotron.
Hey everybody, just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's had me in your thoughts and prayers. I'm going to be all right. Hurting me that I can't be there for the home opener. Would want nothing more than to be with my teammates and walk out on that floor tonight. But I'll be supporting you guys from here and wishing you the best of luck. Kill it tonight. Thanks, guys.
I'm sure you had all the Celtics fans and all the Celtics players fired up after that one, but unfortunately for them, it just didn't matter because the guy who everyone has been waiting to see play this season, Giannis Antetokounmpo, after his huge leap into stardom last year, and people are expecting another huge leap from him this year, and even quite possibly for him to be an MVP candidate, had an MVP caliber game yesterday to spoil the Boston Celtics home opener. Things did get a bit heated though in the second quarter when two of the tougher guards in the league got into it after a couple of hard fouls. Marcus Smart wound up with a technical foul after he tried to go after Matthew Dellavedova but was held back by John Henson. However, nothing came of it after that. Where the game got interesting though was in the fourth quarter, Giannis's quarter. Some players just have the ability to say, you know what, we are not losing this game, give me the rock. And Giannis is one of those guys because in the fourth, he went off, scoring 16 of his 37 points, showing that when he wants to be, he is literally unstoppable. Beasles said it best on Twitter yesterday that the key to stopping Giannis is forcing him to shoot. Seems easy, right? The only problem with that though is forcing him to shoot. You can't. If he wants to get by you, he is getting by you. 37 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 steals for the Greek Freak. Even though it was Giannis's night, it was Matthew Dellavedova's moment as Giannis trusted him to hit the big shot that would pretty much seal the game in the final moment, and he came through with the triple. 15 points on the night for Delly and 19 for Brogdon, while Jaylen Brown had 18 for Boston, and Kyrie Irving had a really off shooting night, only a 7 of 25 from the field. 108 to 100 was the final score. It finally happened. We got to see all of the Sixers on the court at the same time. Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid all played yesterday in their season opener against the Washington Wizards, and Embiid a little more than anyone expected to. He was supposed to be limited to around 15 minutes last night, but instead he played more minutes than he has ever played before in his career so far, 27. Honestly, all of the young Sixers played really well. The Sixers as a whole played really well. Robert Covington was lights out from distance, 29 points on 7 of 11 shooting from deep, and Embiid was pretty good too with 18 points, 13 rebounds. Simmons looked good with 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and Fultz, who only played 18 minutes off the bench, didn't look bad either. 10 points on over 50% shooting from the field. He's gonna be just fine when his shoulder heals up completely. So yeah, the Sixers played really well. If you're a Philly fan, you might be able to start feeling excited about this season. But just because they played well doesn't mean they got the win. John Wall and Bradley Beal seemed like they were playing for their honor out there. They didn't want to be the first team to lose to the Sixers, and I think that's going to be the case a lot. The Sixers talked a lot about how good they were over the offseason, and guys typically don't want to lose to the team that's full of rookies that's talking like they're seasoned championship level veterans. Even though their shots weren't falling, Wall and Beal were finding ways to get it done. Beal got to the free throw line 16 times last night, converting on 12 of them for 25 points, and Wall went to the stripe 9 times himself, hitting 8 of them for 28 points to go along with 8 assists. And that's where the game was pretty much won, at the stripe, as Washington took nearly 20 more free throws than the Sixers did. Also, the fact that the Sixers had nearly twice as many turnovers as the Wizards didn't help either, but still though, it was a good game. 120 to 115 was the final score. Aldridge is back. I repeat, LaMarcus Aldridge is back. Him opening up to Popovich about his unhappiness and the Spurs reassuring him with that contract extension must have done wonders for LA because he looked like the Portland LaMarcus Aldridge again last night. It wasn't like a super crazy game for him or anything, but you know, 25 points, 10 rebounds. That's what we got used to seeing from Aldridge on a nightly basis back in Portland, so it's good to see him doing that again with the Spurs. There was no Kawhi Leonard in this game. He's out with a sore quad, but they got enough contributions from guys across the board to be able to tame the Wolves last night. DeJounte Murray looked really solid with 16 points on 7 of 8 shooting from the field. Rudy Gay had 14 off the bench in his first game with the Spurs. And the Spurs, you know, they're just the Spurs. They're going to compete no matter who is out. The Wolves, though, this was the first time we got to see them in action during the regular season, and you can tell they're still trying to figure some things out. When you have a team where 2 of your best players are still really young, and you add in some veterans like Jeff Teague and Jimmy Butler, and then on top of that, all those guys need the ball in their hands, there is going to be a learning period, and they're still learning exactly what their role is on this team. Wiggins had 26 points and Towns had 18 points and 13 rebounds for Minnesota. 107-99 was the final score. Well, I mentioned LaMarcus Aldridge in the last game, so I guess this would be a pretty good time to mention his old team real quick. And I mean real quick because there ain't much to say at all. The Portland Trail Blazers violated the Phoenix Suns in every way imaginable yesterday. That's pretty much all I need to say. Lillard was great as usual, 27 points, and they didn't even have CJ McCollum since he was out on a 1-game suspension for barely getting off the bench during a fight in their last preseason game. Pat Connaughton, who the guy from Brooklyn, had himself a night though off the bench with 24 points. And like I said, there just isn't anything else to say. A 124-76 was the final score. The Pistons playing their first game back in the city of Detroit for the first time in 40 years. The crowd was loving it. Eminem was hyping everyone up before the game. It was just great. I loved watching. It was a great experience and a great game all around, and that's mainly because the Pistons were able to get the win. Tobias Harris was Detroit's leading scorer with 27 points, and Stanley Johnson probably had the best worst game you could ever possibly have. 0 of 13 shooting from the field. Yeah, I know that sounds really, really bad, unbelievably bad, but when I say the best worst game ever, you just have to watch it to know what I mean. First of all, it's like the basketball gods just didn't want him to make a shot or something yesterday. I mean, he was taking shots that he would normally make, they just wouldn't go in. But where he really left his mark was on defense. You can't get a full grasp of defense on a box score, but he did have 4 steals. He was just phenomenal on the defensive end. Everywhere you looked, he was right there. Kemba Walker had 24 points for the Hornets though, and 102-90 was the final score. No Chris Paul, absolutely no problem whatsoever. Paul was out with a bruised knee that he suffered in the first game against the Warriors, but take him away and you just have the same great Rockets team you had last year, and they were able to snag the 105-100 win over the Young Kings to advance 2-0 on the season. Harden, with one of his usual games, didn't shoot the ball well, but still had 27 points and 9 assists. MVP for me for the night, though, had to be Clint Capella. Nearly a 20-20 game for him with 22 points, 17 rebounds, and 3 steals. If he can play even close to how he played yesterday more often, then we all need to watch out seriously for the Houston Rockets. Willie Cauley-Stein had 21 points and 10 rebounds, and De'Aaron Fox had 14 points and 5 assists in his rookie debut off the bench. This is not a good sign at all for the Pelicans. There is no way that Anthony Davis should score 33 points and grab 18 rebounds. DeMarcus Cousins should score 28 points, grab 10 rebounds, and block 7 shots, and somehow the Pelicans still lose by double digits. That just doesn't make sense. Other guys on the Pelicans, y'all gotta do something else. Anything else. Help them. For the Grizzlies though, I mean, it's what else do you expect? It's the Conley and Gasol show. Still 2 of the most underrated players in the NBA. Conley with 27 points and Gasol with 14 points, 11 boards, and 3 blocks. And then off the bench, you had 2nd round draft pick Dillon Brooks providing Memphis with some great offense. 19 points on 7 of 13 shooting, one of the most unknown rookies, having one of the best rookie debuts so far. 103-91 was the final score. Got some good news, some better news, some bad news, and some terrible news for Brooklyn Nets fans out there. Good news, Y'all scored 131 points. Give yourselves a round of applause. Bad news, y'all somehow let the Indiana Pacers drop 140 points on your head. How that happens, I don't know. Great news, D'Angelo Russell is flames. 30 points on better than 50% shooting. And terrible news, it's not looking too good for Jeremy Lin. He went down in the third quarter with some type of knee injury. There was footage of him breaking down when it happened, saying, I'm done repeatedly. They're still running tests, but it just doesn't look good. And these injuries really suck already. I have my fingers crossed that it only looked worse than it actually is, but it's just not looking good. He had 18 points before the injury, and get well soon. Hope it's nothing that serious. The Pacers, though, they said they were going to play a different style of basketball this year, and scoring 140 points for sure proved that. Turner, Oladipo, Collison, Young, Sabonis, Stevenson, you name it, everyone for the Pacers played extremely well. They could be that one team that doesn't have like the guy, just a group of good players that play together. With the right coach and the right group of guys, those teams can go really far. Can that be this year's Pacers team though? It's too early to tell, but keep your eyes out on these guys. Could be the surprise team of the year. The battle for Florida with the ending that I know I didn't see coming, as the Orlando Magic come away with a 116-109 win, despite Hassan Whiteside starting off the season with 26 points, 22 rebounds, and staying true to his word and hitting his only triple of the night. That is impressive stuff. Kind of like the Pacers though for the Magic, as it was just a group effort to get the win. Fournier led all scorers with 23, while Vucevic had 19 points and 13 rebounds. Two teams that are going to be fighting for some of those last spots out west. So even though this is the first game of the season, this is one of those games that could really matter down the line. And it looked like it was about to be the Nuggets who were going to get the win until the fourth quarter, when things completely fell apart as they were outscored 28-13 and wound up losing 106-96. Alec Burks, who was injured most of last season, played a big part in the Jazz comeback win, scoring 12 points during Utah's comeback run and 16 points on the night. Rudy Gobert also chipped in with 18 for Utah, while Will Barton led the Nuggets with 23 off the bench. Wait, did the Hawks really win? You look at their team on paper and you ask, how is this possible? But it happened, and most of the games they do win this season will be because of one player, Dennis Schroeder. Dude is a hooper and a certified bucket getter, and that is what he did last night. 28 points on 50% shooting from the field, as well as 7 assists. But no matter how good he is, no one can do it alone. So he also got some help from Marco Bellinelli off the bench, who dropped 20, ruining Dennis Smith Jr.'s rookie debut, and it was a good one too, except for the loss. He had 16 points and 10 assists for Dallas. 117-111 was your final score. But that's it. All 11 games from yesterday recapped, and you guys can go vote for the player of the day by following the link down in the description box. Just remember, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. By the way, yesterday's player of the day was LeBron James with his 29 points and 16 rebounds and 9 assists. And that's it for this video. See you guys later today with the NBA news. Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and I guess I'll be back.